Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David with a working mic.
Oh, yes, with a working mic this time. We love that. Welcome to week 2 of Summer Camp June.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what do they play? They play taps or something.
Bugles, yeah.
To pump up the temperature. Yeah. It's time to get up and go to camp. Last week we went to, I forgot the name of the camp, but Wet Hot American Summer. This week we are going to Camp Hope for heavyweights, the 1995.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay, I pulled that out of
I
my
think
head.
that's right.
1995 movie from Disney, starring Ben Stiller and a bunch of kids. Some other
The
great
Mike
Keenan
Ducks.
Thompson, young Keenan Thompson.
Listen, I'm just gonna say it now because I was gonna save it. Why is he still 40? I was like, he barely looks different still.
I know.
This is
He's
even
just
younger
taller.
even younger than Keenan and Kel, even younger than all that. And I was like, he still kind of looks the same.
Yeah, you do. You do.
But yeah, Keenan's in it. It's got a great cast of side characters. Jerry Stiller, love him. Let's get into the little summary here before we talk about the movie itself. They don't run the fastest, they don't jump the highest, but they sure are getting the last laugh. Camp Hope is a summer retreat for overweight boys run by a kindly couple who make the campers feel comfortable with their extra pounds. But when tyrannical fitness guru Tony buys the camp, he puts the kids on a cruel regimen that goes too far. Sick of the endless weeks of all work and no play, the kids stage a coup and reclaim their summer of fun. I also want to know in here, I wonder, is this a Dodgeball prequel? Because that's the Bubba
It feels like it. It feels like it.
Yeah.
So what was did this have a box office run, David? I don't even remember if this was in theaters.
It did. You know, Heavyweights is one of those movies that I feel like, I don't know if you guys will talk about it in a minute, but it feels like one of those movies that lived to be on the Disney Channel or lived to be on, like kids TV, So surprised to me, it actually was a theatrical release. It released President's Day weekend, February 17th, 1995, in the number 3 spot with $6 million, only in about 1,900 theaters. The number 1 movie that weekend was the Brady Bunch movie, which brought in $14.8 million. Other debuting film, Just Cause, brought in 10.6 and number 2. Billy Madison was in its second week and slipped to 5.5 million. And then Western flick, The Quick and the Dead, was number 5 with 4.2 million. For its U.S. run, Heavyweights didn't do tremendously well, only brought in about 17.6 million, didn't release internationally, or at least there's no recording of how it did internationally if it released overseas. So that worldwide total stands at 17.6 million on a $10 million budget, which, I don't know, that's not, it didn't double its budget or anything, but it wasn't necessarily a high budget to begin with. Kind of movie probably wouldn't get made today in that regard. So it finished.
More low budget movies, please.
More low budget movies, more movies that are like targeted for this weird, like this kind of like, I don't know, 8 to 12 phase of kids, that are like live action movies for them. It feels like Disney had a slew of these in the 90s. Now they're all like Disney Channel original movies. U.S. run ended as the number 87 movie of 1995. Number 1 movie in 1995, of course, was... one second. Gotta scroll to the top from 87. Number 1 movie of 1995 here in the U.S. was Toy Story, followed by Batman Forever, Apollo 13, Pocahontas, and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. One of the movies we have reviewed previously, including Toy Story. Our most recent trip to...
movie we ever reviewed, wasn't it?
Well, technically
or the second
fourth.
series.
Second series.
Star Wars. Yeah, that was an early one. Okay.
Yeah,
we did the first 3 Star Wars, then Ace Ventura. I mean, guys, I got to tell you, too, one of the funniest... I remember listening to the podcast back then before I was on the show. One of the funniest transitions... It happened twice. One of the funniest transitions is if you're listening to your Ace Ventura podcast, how genuinely you were like, this hasn't aged well, but still funny, to, wow, we really hated Ace Ventura too. Like the transition is very, the tone shifts so hard if you're listening to the podcast back to back. And it's the same with the Grown Ups podcasts.
I'm scared to
You guys are like, I love Grown Ups.
That version of Josh, Garrett, and Andrew.
Yeah.
It was a different world.
I don't know those guys anymore. I know 2025 versions of them. We're more now.
I remember one of the we're way off track now. I remember one of the first clips you guys put online was a clip of you guys teasing Andrew for how much he loved Peter Jackson's King Kong,
Still
and
good.
it was, I don't know what episode that's actually in. I'd have to go back and look. Anyway, our most recent trip to 1995 was Babe, which I believe we did just a little earlier this year. 1995 overall, very nice year, very good year, and we will probably be back, I'm sure, because a lot of great movies that year.
I'd love to go back. A lot of great movies in 2001. You're right. Well, this was your pick, David. So let's just hand the mic back to you so you can tell us kind of why'd you pick it and then, your general expectations this time around.
Well, Heavyweights is genuinely a movie that I really liked as a kid. I don't remember how old I would have been when I saw it. I was probably been, like I said, in like that 8 to 12 range when I saw it for the first time. I remember this being the movie that introduced the song "I Want Candy" to me, and I thought that was just
Yeah.
a banger song as a kid. It was a movie that came out during the time frame of like the Mighty Ducks and the Sandlot, and gosh, what else back then? Richie Rich and Blank Check. All these like great movies that were on Disney Channel back then, and I thought it was so funny. At the time, I had no idea who Ben Stiller was. Obviously, don't recognize some of the other, like, blink and you'll miss some people in this movie. Like, Paul Feig would go on to be, obviously, a big director.
I almost
You
missed
got
Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor
You didn't
plays
look to say, I
Chase's
know.
dad. And then Tim Blake Nelson's in it for, like, a very short moment.
Yes!
That was
And-
the most fake-looking hair I've ever seen in my life.
For just, like, a small bit, but it's... but I like to think that guy grew up to be Dr. Sir, or no, not Dr. Sir.
Mr. Sir, yeah.
The one from the guy, whoever he is in Holes. I can't remember his character's name now. But anywho, I just remember this being a really fun movie that I liked as a kid. I've watched it probably recently within like the last 4 or 5 years again, because I find Ben Stiller's character to be very funny, and a prelude to White Goodman from Dodgeball. And also, the theme was camp movies. And when I thought of camp movies, this was the first thing that came to mind because it's one of the few movies that I remember just takes place completely in camp. It's, from a kid's perspective, it's not necessarily a parody or horror or anything like that. It's like a genuine we're at camp movie. So that was the first thing that came to mind. And obviously, it's a very specific type of camp. I'd imagine they don't use these kind of terms anymore, but it's a fat camp. That's the term they use in the movie. But it is I thought it fit the category what we wanted a lot, and it kind of it kind of counter programs against what Josh was doing last week with sort of the more satirical adults.
All right. I'll take it. I mean, I kind of remember watching this as a kid too, but I more so almost loop it all in with all those other movies you listed earlier that kind of just run together in my head. So I never really like attached myself to it. It kind of felt like a first watch to me in a way. So I'll tell you my expectations. I was afraid of how it ages, which makes sense. You know, like you said, this is a fat camp. I don't know if they really call them that anymore. I googled it real quick, and I see on Wikipedia it's called weight loss camp.
Weight loss camp. Okay.
A fat camp, weight loss camp, or, and this one really bugs me, fat farm is on Wikipedia.org.
That's not nice.
Yowza.
So I was afraid. I was like, is this gonna be like? Because you really don't want anything with kids and eating disorders. All that stuff can age very poorly. Plus, you don't. I'm like, I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch a movie where like kids are being made fun of for their size either. So I had a lot of reservations, I will say. I think I was mostly relieved that those worries were they didn't really come to fruition. We'll get in more in that though. That was my take though. What about you, Garrett? What were your expectations?
Yeah, this was my first time to watch this one, at least to my recollection. There were moments where I feel like I had seen certain pieces here and there, but I don't believe that I've ever sat down to see the whole thing. And so, Josh, I was the same as you. I was also concerned because as we've gone through a lot of these movies, sometimes we go and we go, oh yeah, that doesn't really hold up very well no more. But I would agree. Outside of that, it had a very good message. There were some moments, again, we'll get into it, that don't hold up well, but overall, I found it very, I would agree. It fits into with those like targeted kids movies that were so, I think about this often, David, to tangent real quick, but like I also think about there's not enough of those movies like that come out that are purposeful and meant for that kind of genre. Richie Rich is a great example um, of some of those that are just like really good tween-ish kind of movies. We need some more of those.
Yeah, movies for sixth graders.
More movies about groups of kids who are the same age. Like it's a team or a group, like you're saying. The Sandlot, a team. Heavyweights, they're kind of a team.
Mighty Ducks, the
Mighty
Big
Ducks,
Green,
a literal team. Like I feel like now the kids' movies are just like maybe this is Harry Potter's fault. They're just trios. I need more than a trio.
Yeah.
These kids need more friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're totally right about that. I would love to see that. So the movie gets kicked off with we meet our main character Jerry, who is man, he's just a fan of the New York something or other hockey
Islanders.
team.
Yeah.
What is it?
The Islanders.
Islanders, which I googled to see if they were real, and they are.
They are.
I didn't know. I'd never heard of them.
Sure.
He's coming home from summer. He has big plans to hang out.
Yeah.
He's gonna hang out.
That's all you need for summer is to hang out.
Yeah. Can we? So, if I can pause for a second, I'm sorry, Josh, but this is the other reason I picked this movie was this opening sequence. Oh. It's everything I think we wanted when we're talking about summertime and summer camp. You have a ticking clock that ticks to 3 p.m. on the last day of school. Bell rings, kids come out, heaving papers in the air. Everybody's chaos. Kid that can't catch the bus. Oh no, running after the bus, going home. Just wants to get home, Everything just feels very much like, oh, it's summer. And he's out. He's looking to hang. Sorry, go ahead. He's got big plans to hang out.
Also,
but Mom and Dad have other plans.
While we're already there, never in my life have I seen a school react that way in real life. No. Despite the fact that every movie shows it that way.
Yeah.
And I just one time want to see a school commit. I want to see a school brave enough to tear up all their papers upon and throw them into a array.
Yeah.
For the janitors and the cleaning crew to have to clean up angrily because they should be mad at that, actually.
Never.
Yeah, I've never really experienced that either. I mean, I can remember feel like leaving middle school maybe or junior high, people were really excited. But I don't remember a big throwing thing. And another thing, you know what? This is the episode of Tangents. That's fine. People don't really throw their caps at graduation either, I noticed. Sometimes they do.
They're
afraid. Be careful.
But I've attended a ton of graduations.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not as common as it is in movies.
No, you got to be careful throwing your cap because, throw it over there. It's gone.
Corners are dangerous, too.
I didn't throw my cap when I graduated.
Get hit in the eye.
But anyway,
I think we were told we had to wait till we got outside to throw them. We couldn't throw them inside.
Mom always said, "Don't throw caps in the house."
What are they gonna do? Expel you?
Take my diploma.
Come get me, principal. But yes, like you said, Jerry's parents are not gonna let him hang out this year. They brought a nice man by the name of
Tim Blake
Nelson, which is another just bizarre way to intro summer camp to your son is to just bring this strange man in with a videotape. Is that how camp was sold?
You got to pitch it, man. I mean, listen, this was still the early 90s. Video cameras, VHSs, bringing this promo video into your home. It was new. It was exciting.
Yes,
wow, look at this cool stuff.
And Tim Blake Nelson could not be worse at pitching, I think, because he almost acts like it's hey, this does the job for me. I just play the tape.
Yeah,
that's what's great about Tim in these roles. He's good at being you just know when you see him and he's doing something like that, he's snaky. Something snaky is going on if Tim Blake Nelson is a salesman.
Yeah.
You know you can't trust that camp. Jerry? And that is what Jerry learns from the end of this video where it looks great. Honestly,
Yeah.
it looks like an amazing camp
The blob, the go-karts.
until what's his name pops up and is like, "It's a fat camp surprise."
He says the great way to lose weight, and Jerry interprets that as it's fat camp. He's infuriated.
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely infuriated. So we jump ahead a little bit. We're on the bus. This is where we meet Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
I did double take, even though he looks the same, but it's because I could not believe he would be in this movie too.
See, and this was one of
basically the cast of the Mighty Ducks and the Mighty Ducks 2.
This was one of my introductions to Keenan as a kid. And, we do have also Shaun Weiss, who plays Goldberg in the Mighty Ducks movies. I thought as for a long time that the kid who played like Averman was in this too. There's like a redheaded kid in this movie, but it's not the same guy.
I think he's just in the background a little bit, but I think he's also there because I had that thought.
And then Aaron Schwartz, who plays Jerry Garner, he's in the first Mighty Ducks. He doesn't come back for the sequels, but he is in the first one as well. So it does kind of feel like they had all these kids together, and they were like, "Here's a movie idea that we've had kicking around. Let's get some people involved."
I want to set the scene for Keenan though, because he really sets up what this movie tries to convey early on in this, and it is fat camp's great because you're not the fat kid. Everybody's the fat kid. And so, you take that approach and you watch this movie, especially, as an adult watching it for now, and you see the message is early on, we get to be ourselves. This is a place where we can go and be accepted and feel like we're not being judged, we're not being put down. This is just us being and getting to have fun. And so I really liked the way that he put it in that perspective, because it really did kind of set the tone. And that message is weaved, again, throughout the whole movie. So it was a fun way to kind of see Keenan pop in there and be like, "You going to fat camp?" But then he explains it in a fun way.
It tees everything up in a way that, obviously when Tony Perkins comes in, and when, like the dread comes in, it's like, oh no, the fun is gone. So you're set up. Keenan explains it in a way. Keenan's character he's bringing it, he's, I don't know what the equivalent of in another movie is, but he's bringing Jerry in, lowering his anxiety about it a little bit, and he's Keenan, so he's wonderfully likable. Also, this is the thing, and I don't know if you guys remember it being this way or not, but he's very frank. He's like, you going to fat camp because you're fat? And he goes, well, you're fat too. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to fat camp. Yeah. And he's very they're all very chill about it. Like they're not like, it's not like some dirty thing. They're going to have fun.
That's what I think saves the movie from aging poorly in a lot of ways, because it is set up with the best intentions, I think, because Camp Hope is run by the Bushkins, Jerry Stiller and his wife, and they do have a lot of fun activities, and they do seem to genuinely care about it. But then we get to the twist for Jerry on his first night at camp, where he learns that the camp has been sold to fitness guru and future Global Gym owner Tony Perkins. Ben Stiller. Perkins. What is it? I don't know. Everything with his name drives me nuts in that movie. But Tony has taken over, and I say the Globo Gym thing, but it's kind of real. He very much plays a character that feels like he probably drew into that for Dodgeball later, because he's over the top, overzealous, crazy, like fitness guru man, like Tybo on speed. And these kids are now being forced to work out way too much in the least fun ways, stealing all the joy of fat camp of Camp Hope as we know it.
And he's like, he's taking all the fun out of it. He's trying to sell an infomercial. Like, that's where his real goals are. He doesn't care about the kids. But it's, and it is Ben Stiller. I think it's Ben Stiller in one of, like, Ben Stiller usually has one of two roles. He has, like, well, I'm just a normal guy who's being, beaten down by everybody. Or he has really over-the-top, silly character. And this is that perfect thing where he's like, he's got the deeper voice. And he's like, Gerald Garner, what are you doing? And he's very, he's very in everybody's face. I love when he introduces himself. and he talks about the lights that are all donated. All the lights you'll see here at Camp Hope are donated by my father, and all that. And he runs through. He's trying to get everybody to get the high fives. Kenny the cameraman, all that stuff. His team of assistants, including
He also plays his
Lars.
father, it should be said.
He does play his dad later on, which is pretty funny.
Despite his dad being in the movie.
Which is weird.
Yes.
Good point. I didn't think about that.
Jerry Stiller and his mother are the former camp owners, the Bushkins.
Yep.
And,
Hey,
Jerry Stiller gets one of those classic Jerry Stillers in where they filed for Chapter 9 bankruptcy and they walk away and they're all sad. He comes back and he goes, "One piece of advice. Never let anyone sign your checks." And I was like,
I'm mad at the
there's Frank
Bushkins
Costanza.
because listen to this. They knew before to this day that the camp was sold. And they didn't tell Tim. They didn't tell Pat. They gave them no notice that, hey, we have sold this place to somebody else. Like,
How does that happen?
Cold. And they do seem to care. You think that is some notice that they would have given. Hey, we're going through some stuff. We're not here. We're not going to be the owners anymore. So to have them come out and be like, hey, but no. That was just
maybe they thought that they could save it at the last minute, but there's a whole other movie where they were trying to save the camp and it didn't work out.
I'd watch that.
But so Tony comes in, he introduces the Perkis system. He introduces one of my favorite characters, who I quote to this day, Lars.
Do it, Lars.
Played by Hodges. Me and Nikki to this day will still sometimes when we're like working or walking, we'll say, "I'm feeling skinny, Tony." And and things like that, because Lars is so funny in this, and he becomes the counselor of their bunk.
He is, and I was saying "do it to it, Lars" before I knew where that came from.
Do it to it, Lars.
It's just a quote that's always been stuck in my head. But so what? Back on track of like what kind of movie this is. Tony is really he's everything bad about body image. Like he's bad body image. He's toxic fitness. He's all these bad things that we're talking about being afraid of. He represents all of that in the movie, and he really takes it to such an extreme that the kids Lord of the Flies him in a way.
They do.
They really stage a coup to kind of. Then we get into a classic hijink movie in a way, where the kids are trying to fight back. But any thoughts on like how the kids handle Tony, because they go through a lot of crap.
Yeah, they go through a journey, because at first they're trying to figure out, well, what can we even do?
Yeah,
they're very and some of the kids are a little bit more brash. Sean Weiss's character Josh, he's very defiant. Roy, is it Roy? Is that his name? Keenan's character is very defiant. I want to slip this in. I know this is slightly off topic, but there's a scene where before Josh gets sent away, he's sort of mocking Tony. Yeah. And he has this whole thing about they find all the candy they've been stashing, and he's like, "I'll tell you who did it." Now, in the cut of the movie, all right, that it was shown in theaters and was in the movie version that was shown in theaters and the versions on TV and on Disney Plus, he says it was Seymour Butts. And when Ben says, "Who's Seymour Butts?" and he says, "No one's seen more butts than you, Uncle Tony." Ha ha ha, very funny. However, not the line they recorded. And if you watch, you can tell that the dub does not match. Yeah. You want to know the real line?
Yeah.
Wait.
So the real line is, he says, it was Peter Fitz. And Tony says, "Peter Fitz. Who's Peter Fitz?" And he says, and Josh says, "Any Peter Fitz if you push hard enough, Uncle Tony." So sad.
That didn't make it into any cut?
That got cut from the movie. As you can imagine, they wanted that G rating. So yeah, but you can see, if you watch the movie and you watch his lips, they do not match him saying Seymour. It doesn't match at all. When I found that out, it's so funny. Anyway, Josh gets sent out, and at that point the kids are terrified.
Yeah.
And they're getting worked to death. This is where the movie, Josh, you kind of talk about what ages poorly, and I feel like they really tried to do a little bit of both at the same time. They were trying to be like, hey, you know, these kids they're overweight, but that's not necessarily something they should be like ridiculed for, or mocked for, or treated poorly for. And here's like the toxic fitness industry trying to push values on them, right? Or push a certain lifestyle on them. But the movie does take advantage of like, hey, we're gonna have these kids fall over, they're gonna be bad at sports, they're gonna get winded, they're gonna be excited to eat, they're gonna chase a cow, or something like that. Like they have a little bit of fun in that respect. So I mean, what do you think? Is that like a step too far on that? Do you guys think it's like within the realm of like, okay, let's be playful, but like the overall message weighs out?
Honestly, I didn't have a problem with what they were portraying until the near the end with the food tribal party.
Oh, with the
for me, that was the moment where I was like, okay, they're really kind of escalating to.
Yeah.
They've got their, this is in the third act, so we'll get to that. For me, I think that what worked was there was all of that going on, and Ben Stiller was so over the top with his character that you could they played it, they balanced it pretty well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, yes, it doesn't necessarily all hold up well, but because he's so over the top, he's so evil, for lack of a better word, that doesn't play as much. And they also have the other story with Pat and how he's really trying to find himself while also reassuring these kids that they are still good enough. And Pat is, kind of Jerry's father figure in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that relationship, and they are trying to figure out how they can continue this camp that used to be a place where they could go and feel like themselves. And now this is another place where they feel judged and taken away from. And so, that I appreciate. I like the in this game, it's always tropey, no matter how you do it. But like their overtaking of the authoritarian, if you will, is warranted and makes a lot of sense. And so I think that it was well done.
And as a kid, you root for him. As a kid,
Exactly.
you're totally on their side.
As an adult too.
Oh yeah, even as an adult, you root for them in a way. I mean, they go hog wild.
They go too far.
That's the thing. It's getting us into the last act. They capture they capture Tony in a like
electric cage,
in an electric cage pit that they built with this bug zapper. And they tie Lars up in the woods. Like they're very, like I said, it is Lord of the Flies out there. They don't mess around at camp. And then yes, they do throw a very unfortunate binge eating party. That's probably not great.
Which honestly does feel like, overweight or not, if you're 9 years old, it looks like a blast. If you're like a little, if you're like sixth grade, you're like, oh my gosh, the food we want, candy.
Yes.
Marshmallows, just throwing a huge rave outside. It does
absolutely. They were. I imagine that is how kids would react, especially after they were food deprived. Like they were literally food deprived.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not judging it. I'm just, the whole like whipped cream. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
We see earlier in the movie, we kind of skipped over it, but pretty much every camper brought an arsenal of candy and treats and snacks.
Yeah.
And, like they have booby traps all throughout the cabin that they can hide it in. So they were stocked for this party later. But then again, just like kind of surprisingly nice to me, like Pat and the kids decide to restore the old Camp Hope. They still want to lose weight, but they want to do it the fun, right way that the old camp was doing it. So they bring back the old activities, and they actually, enjoy the exercise,
the community of it,
never think
all
about.
That. And it all builds, and then, it's kind of funny. They squeeze so much of this movie into like the last 25 minutes, because I actually registered that, like when Tony escapes from his prison and, interrupts the big reveal, because like the kids show the parents the video that he's been recording and all the abuse that they've been enduring, and I thought the villain was a little over the top and all that, right? It's very... They do all that, and then they still have the relay race against the jock kids across the way. They still got all that to do, and it's like 20 minutes. They just sandwich all this stuff in here towards the end.
Yeah.
And it is all cliche, the big camp race, and they do it. And it's very fun, though. It's very, like, all the kids are involved. They all succeed in their various
That
respects.
go-kart jumping over the other go-kart was awesome.
It was dope, right?
That was so freaking cool.
That's all you wanted to do as a kid was jump a go-kart on top of another go-kart.
Oh.
And like I said, it is very cliche at times, a little tropey, but I feel like it's also fairly earnest. You know, it's very nice.
I mean, I had to laugh to myself because it's like at that point where Tony is taken off and Tony Senior comes in and is like, "We're shutting down the camp," blah blah blah. But the kids want to keep it. It is one of those tropes where it's like, "Oh no, who's gonna run the camp?"
Yeah.
And Pat's there. Like that's how that works. Oh, I'll take it over.
Sure.
But he does, and we get it. He gets a nice ending too, because, like you said earlier, Garrett, he's going through his own thing. He's tired of always being the fat guy.
Yeah.
He loves what he does, but it comes with a downside, and he's tired of that. But being able to run the camp himself, and being able to
mentor these kids,
but also seal the deal with Julie.
Yes.
He gets his own, not redemption arc, but nice little. I don't know. He gets something too.
He gets his self-confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we start the movie off, and he's he's great with the kids. That nurse comes up to talk to him. She comes up to talk to him, and he's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." We get him. Keenan ribs him. You've been here 18 years. You don't know where the infirmary is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think. You guys may have your opinions on it. I think overall, though, it's a fairly well-rounded movie for kids. Some aspects may not have aged as well as others, but I still have a lot of fun with it. It comes from the world of I think Judd Apatow was involved with this.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Oh, he wrote it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I was going through the names. There was a lot of very interesting names that popped up in the opening credits.
Stephen Brill was the director. He directed Mr. Deeds and some of the Mighty Ducks movies. He directed some other Adam Sandler related stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of it's kind of like you said the other day about Wet Hot American Summer. There were a lot of funny people in this before they were big, or before they were everywhere. Because I think this is even kind of early for Ben Stiller. I don't know.
It was.
I could be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right. I think you have done a wonderful job of hitting the theme, both of you.
Yes, so I think this was another solid pick. Did you guys stick around for the post-credits scene?
So I have in the past. I didn't this time.
Okay. I think I did, but what was it? Maybe I did.
Tony is selling crystals.
Oh, no, I did not see that.
Yeah, he becomes a crystal salesman. He's like the healing crystal crap.
Yeah.
He's funny. Selling that. Yeah. All right. Well, then, David, give us the honor of your first. You do the first rating.
Oh, I'm just gonna come up. I'm just gonna give it 4 out of 5. I think that as a kids movie, this is almost exactly what you want, and it's very funny, and it doesn't overstay its welcome.
It still didn't.
It's great. So I give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm gonna, I'm really surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't expect it to hold up well, and it was better than I expected too. So I think that looking at it from a perspective of it's a kids movie. That for me, there's a threshold. I feel like it did exceed it, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like this. This is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably came into this a 3, but I think I was talked up actually a little bit. I want to go with the 3.5 as well because of, it just is really, it's a charming little movie, especially for kids. I think any kid that has ever felt, I don't even think it needs to be kids who have felt body image issues. Any kid that's felt left out or, different could probably relate or feel something in this movie. So it's fun. I think it's good. I'm gonna give it 3.5 too.
Nice.
All right, let's go through some Letterboxd reviews, see what they thought of Heavyweights. I have a feeling it's probably going to be good. 4 stars. As a fat boy in the 1990s, this was a very important movie to me. 4 stars, probably the best thing Disney has ever released. I'm sorry, that was
Wow.
5 stars actually.
Ooh.
My favorite quote personally is this review, 5 stars. I had big plans this summer. I was gonna hang out.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to do too. And then 4 stars. Attention campers, lunch has been canceled today due to lack of hustle.
That's another one. Due to lack of
Another great
hustle.
quote.
That one I love when he goes, get on the scale, and he like moves it one thing. He goes, get off the scale.
Oh, here's another fun one that just says, pointed out, gotta love that Ben Stiller plays his own dad, even though Jerry Stiller is in the movie. All right.
My dad never hugged me. You never see me whining about it.
Now, we had a direct hit. I think who had the direct hit last week? Did I do it? No, Garrett did.
Oh,
I mean,
it was I.
So where are you at now? Are you just one behind me now, or have you passed me?
Heck if I... No, I haven't. Certainly haven't passed.
Garrett's 2 behind you. The
Okay.
current score is me 9, Josh 6, Garrett 4.
Okay,
So
well,
Garrett's
then
within
Garrett
striking distance, though.
does us the honors of the first guess.
Those are some high scores, and I think that this movie's gonna hold up well. I'm gonna live in the 3.4 range.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bet on it
Ooh.
and pick 3.6.
Oh,
He's
dang.
shooting it. He's NBA basketball feeling it.
I'll go a little lower. Josh, Garrett, what'd you say? 3.4?
Yeah.
I'll go a little lower. Now. I'll say 3.2. I'm gonna bank on there being a bunch of people who don't like it that just aren't top reviews.
Sticking with evens. 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 6.
I like the even numbers.
I know, it's nice. We have another direct hit. 2 direct hits in a row. This one goes to David. This movie. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It's a 3.2. I should be higher than that, really.
I agree.
Should be much higher. My score, it should be much higher. 11 to 6 to 4 now.
I think it'd be much higher.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, well, that'll do it for us on this episode of the show. We've got a couple more weeks of summer camp left, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts to get brand new episodes when they come out. You can go to somanysequels.com and find all those links, our blog, and our socials there. You can talk to us on Instagram, Threads, mostly just those. Let's just go with those. Go watch Heavyweights on Disney Plus. Let us know what you thought about it, and let us know your favorite summer camp movie. Garrett is still trying to decide. So
No, I made a
you
decision.
did make a decision. Do you want to reveal it
Breaking news.
Yeah.
at the end?
Yeah. So listen, it's camp theme. Josh, you've done a great job. You really hit the nail on the head with the camp experience. David, same with you. You gave us the childhood experience there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really struggling to figure out where I wanted to go. I didn't necessarily want to hit a stereotype, but I am. We're going to go to Camp Crystal Lake.
I was kind of hoping you would pick it.
Yeah.
We're going to go to
Put
Camp
my finger on
Crystal
the
Lake,
scale.
and we've had a satire of the tropes. We've had a kids movie that makes you feel good about the time that you went to camp. So now we're going to kill everyone that goes to camp.
Nice.
Now, so are you picking a specific one? You picking the first one?
Yeah.
Or are you picking?
Okay.
Okay.
We are picking the first one. I don't believe we've ever done it. I think,
I don't think so.
Is there a project that's just called Camp Crystal Lake? Like,
Probably.
did they do like
There
a
may be
series or anything
something.
like that?
They did so many of those different
Yeah.
things. There might be. Yeah. Okay.
All
Cool. Well, then stay tuned for next week's episode, which will be a review of Friday the 13th. Wait a minute.
is it on Friday the 13th?
This Friday is Friday the 13th
Oh my God, it was
as
fake.
of this recording. So that's,
Wow. It was meant to be.
I love it. That was meant to be. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. So yeah, check that out. Go find where that's streaming and watch it and let us know what you think when you do. We'll be talking about it soon. SoManySequels.com. We'll see you guys next week.